Okay, so the masks we're making have a pocket which is designed to add a filter, which we will also be providing for you. So the first thing we need to do is cut out our pieces. And so I have drawn up a little cutting pattern that will help you to know which pieces you need to make and how to do that and save as much fabric as possible. So one 8x16, and this will actually be the mask part. These are the two sides, so if you look on this one, these are the pieces with the stars on them. And then you'll have two strips, and these will be the ties. And I know that they look super long, but once you attach them to the mask, they are just right. So
I got a question. Why are these doubled? Are there supposed to be 4 pieces
so
here?
when you get your fabric off the bolt, it's already folded in half. And you will see that on the pattern. So where the fold is, you will just cut 1.5 inch strip. And that actually is the correct length for your tie.
Oh, okay. So it's just folded over.
Yes. And if you have the folded fabric from the bolt, when you cut these, you'll actually be cutting 2 patterns. So you'll have 2 masks cut out at one time.
Okay. You can go ahead now.
So once you have your pieces cut out, the next step is to press the edges. So our 2 sides, we are just going to fold in half and press them flat, and they're finished. Your mask is a little bit different. From the ends, we're going to fold it over and press it once, take another small fold and press it again.
Iron. You're going to iron it, right?
Yeah, press
You
it.
got to. So some guys are going to be doing this. You got to use
Okay,
layman's terms.
press it just like that. Now, if you're real picky, you probably want to stick a couple pins so they stay in place. And you're going to do that to both sides, and it turns out like this. Now, the 2 inside pins are going to mark where you start your sewing out to the edge, and this is actually in the center going to be the pocket for the filter. So to save time, if we press everything all together, it makes it a little bit quicker. So after you have pinned your mask, we also will go ahead and press the ties. So basically you're going to fold 1/4 inch or thereabout on the side, press it down so it gives it a good crease. And you'll do the same thing on the other side.
And this is just eyeballing. It doesn't have to be
Yes.
precise. It doesn't have to be super precise or perfect.
Nope.
And honestly, if you find a step in this process that you want to eliminate and it's still satisfactory, that's fine too. We're just making bulk masks for people that are in need of protection.
And so once you get the 2 sides pressed down, you just fold it in half and do the same thing again. We're just going to press it again.
So what you end up with is a nice thick strap, right?
Yep.
That ties good.
This is your tie that's going to go across the top and the bottom of the mask.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so the center pins are going to mark where we want the pocket to start. So you're going to stitch and give a little back stitch to make sure that that is a solid piece, and then we just sew to the end. And again, I'm not much of a seamstress, so please don't judge my crooked lines. And then back stitch. Okay? Now, we'll do the same thing from the other side. That pin is just marking the edge of our pocket.
How far apart are those pins? 2 inches?
Yeah, approximately. It doesn't have to be exact.
Just enough room to get your filter in there.
Yep. Okay. Now, once we have this finished, you're just gonna flip it inside out. And then we will start our pleats based off of that pocket. Once we've got our pocket sewn in and we flip it inside out, we're gonna start making our pleats. Now this part is really important. I made this mistake on the first one I made, and I left the pocket at the very bottom. And in doing that, I would have sewed my tie all the way across and closed the pocket. So when we do this, we're gonna kind of roll the fabric up, and the pocket is actually going to be the first pleat. So right in here is actually where the pocket is. So from here, all we're doing is pinching the sides. You can make it exact or you can just eyeball it, but we pinch the sides, fold it over.
About a 1/2 inch.
And then we press it. If you
Or
like,
iron it.
if you like pins, this is a good idea to stick pins in here too. But you don't have to. If you are in a hurry, you can just press it real good and it should stay. Okay, and we do 4. It seems to work out the best for the size of the fabric. You can do, I've seen some that only have 3. And that
And so,
is our pleats.
yep, and this is the bottom.
Yes.
Correct.
So our pocket's right here.
All right, your word's upside down. See, humble is upside down.
Thanks. So our next step is to add the sides to it. So we had already pressed them flat long ways. And so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna open that back up, and you're pinning the same side up. So it should look like this. Because what we'll do is we'll stitch all the way down, and then we're gonna fold it over, and it makes a good clean edge on it. Ouch. Again, make sure you always get a little back stitch in there to make it stronger.
Can you just sew right over those needles?
You can, but sometimes you break a needle, and I don't want to do that. Okay. So at this point, we're going to fold it over. You can see your halfway edge. If you want to clean up all those little pieces, you can. So you've got your halfway mark. And again, this might be a time you want to iron again and press it, or you can just go with it and sew it right there. You can pin it and press it, yes. So all I did was fold that edge over, I pressed it, and now we're gonna finish the side. And this side is finished, and you'll do exactly the same thing on the other side. We'll just pin it there and sew our edge on. All right, so the last step is to add the tie. We had already pressed it and folded it over and pressed it again. You can pin all that if you want to, but a little tip is I took the ends of each piece and folded them in half so I would know where the center was. And then it's really important to pin, fold that and pin it there, because if you don't pin it well, you get these little flaps that lay over when you sew because it wasn't pinned good enough.
Getting tight.
So what we're gonna do is we'll just start with one end, And always give it a little back stitch. Alright, and we're gonna sew and sew and sew until we get close to the mask. Okay, so another little tip is all the pressure when you're tying is going to be right here. So once we get onto the mask, I'm going to add another little back stitch right there. And that just gives it some extra strength. So I back it up and we go again. And I'm getting folds again. Alright, again, we're gonna back it up right here. Don't judge my lack of ability. So once we've got the top all done, you've got your strips, and then again you'll do the same thing across the bottom. Now make sure that you're not sewing your little pocket shut, because that's what I did.
Because that's where you stuff your filter if you want to use
Yeah.
an optional filter.
And that's what I did on my first one where I made the mistake.
And there's different materials that can be used for a filter. We've got some material here. It's just I really don't know what it's called.
It's a 3M filter, and so basically what you'll do with this is you would just cut it to fit. You would fold it, slide it in your little pocket there, and unfold it back inside there.
Yeah. And we've also heard that coffee filters work too if you can't find any of this material. But I think I can get this material, so we'll figure that out.
All right, so here is our finished product, and once we have the mask made, we are basically going to fold it up, put it in a Ziploc bag. We'll add a filter in there, and we'll also provide them with a flyer that will have instructions on how to add the filter and also our church information on it. So what we will do is have a box outside the church with some of this in there, and if you need to come by and get the flyers or the filters, we will have those ready probably on Saturday.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions for us, just reach out and we would love to help you. Thanks.
And you'll be able to go by the church and pick those things up at your own convenience. Nobody will be there. You can just go through the box and get what you need, and that would be probably the safest way to keep you from having to go to the church. Thank you.